Good morning, students. This is your 10th Standard Science 2, Unit 17. The name of the lesson is Reproduction in Plants and Animals. In this lesson, I have given the topics which are available. The remaining topics are reduced syllabus given by the government recently. So whatever topics are shown here, these are the topics you are going to study in this lesson. But in this lesson, I am going to discuss only the reproduction in plants. About animals, I will discuss in the class. Topics to learn. Sexual reproduction in plants. In this, you are going to learn parts of a typical flower, structure of the ovule, and next topic, pollination. In this, types of pollination, and the last topic of reproduction in plants is fertilization in plants. Students, I hope you all are having the textbook. Follow the lesson by seeing into the textbook and following this video. Introduction of sexual reproduction in plants. Sexual reproduction is the process in which two gametes, that is, male and female, are fused to produce offsprings. Offsprings means young ones. Sexual reproduction in plants is studied with the help of structure of a flower. With the help of structure of a flower. Now let's see. Parts of a typical flower. This is very important, students. Draw it in your book. The blue color are petals. The green color are sepals. The dark green color inside is the ovule. The yellow color is the stigma. The yellow color is having the filament like called style. And the outer covering is called ovary. All together are called carpel. And this is together called gynoecium, a female part of the flower. Both male and female are present in one flower only. Next is anther, the bean-shaped orange color, that is said to be anther. Anther is connected to the flower with a filament. So these both are together called stamen. And this is also called androecium, the male part of the flower. Are you clear, students? Draw this in your book. Here, calyx consists of sepals. Sepals means the green color leaf-like structure. Corolla is consisting of petals. Androecium consisting of stamen with anther and filament, which is the male part of the flower. Gynoecium or pistil consisting of carpels. That is the female part of the flower. Let's see one by one. Here, the non-essential part of the flower are calyx and corolla, that is sepals and petals. But the most essential part for the reproduction in plants are androecium and gynoecium, that is the male part and the female part of the flower. First, let us see androecium. The male part of the flower is composed of stamens and pollen grains. Stamen and pollen grain. Stamen consists of anther and a filament. Together is called stamen. When you cut this stamen, you have pollen sac where pollen grains are being entering. Next is pollen grain, part of the androecium, that is the male part. Pollen grains are spherical in shape. Students, draw this in your classwork and label it neatly. It has two layered wall, that is double layer. The outer layer is called exine, that is germ pore. The outer dark green color. The inner layer is known as intine. Mature pollen grains contain two cells. They are Vegetative and generative. Vegetative cell contains large nucleus. The generative cell contains two male gametes. Are you clear, students? These are the important points. If you are following the textbook, underline. It will be easy for you to study for your upcoming exams. Next is gynoecium. Gynoecium is the female part of the flower and is made up of carpels. It has three parts: stigma, style and ovary. These three parts of the flower makes the flower is having that female part also. Are you clear, students? Three parts of gynoecium: stigma, style and ovary. Structure of the ovule. Let us see. Follow the textbook, students. The main part of the ovule is nucleus, which is enclosed by two integuments leaving the opening called as micropyle. Here you can see the opening, but the nucleus is being covered with two layers. You can see double layers, and the opening of these two layers is said to be micropyle. The ovule is attached to the ovary wall by a stalk known as funiculus. This ovary is attached by a stalk called funiculus. Chalaza is the basal part. Base part. The embryo sac, inside the grey color embryo sac, contains 7 cells. And the 8th nuclei is located within the nucleus. Here the 8th cell is there. 3 cells at the micropyle end form the egg. Here the 3 cells are there near the micropyle. They form the egg. And the 3 cells, you can see the 3 cells near the chalaza are the antipodal cells. They are said to be antipodal cells. The remaining 2, you can see 2 dots in between, are called polar nuclei, found in the center. In the egg aperture, one is the egg cell, that is female, and the remaining 2 cells are synergids, means they help the egg to develop into a fruit or vegetable. Are you clear, students? This is the structure of the ovule. With the help of the diagram, you can study it very neatly. Draw this diagram also in your classwork. Very important. Next topic is pollination. We have been studying this topic from class 6th. You know what is pollination? The transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Anther to the stigma. Stigma is the sticky part of a flower is called as pollination. It results in fertilization. Fertilization means to develop into a fruit or vegetable. New varieties are grown with the help of pollination. If the pollination takes place only, you will get new varieties of fruits, vegetables, flowers. Here types of pollination are self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination is also called autogamy. Auto means self. Self-pollination is known as autogamy. Underline. The transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of same flower or another flower on the same plant is known as self-pollination. Are you clear, students? The procedure which takes place in the same flower or the other flower of the same plant is said to be self-pollination. What are the advantages? Self-pollination is possible in bisexual flowers. Bisexual means two sexual flowers. Flowers do not depend on agents for pollination. Agents means insects, birds, wind. They do not depend on them. There is no wastage of pollen grains because it is falling within the flower, so there will be no wastage. But there are some disadvantages also. Disadvantages of self-pollination. The seeds are less in numbers. The endosperm is minute, therefore the seeds produce weak plants. New varieties of plants cannot be produced. You cannot produce new varieties if it is a self-pollination. Next is cross-pollination. Cross-pollination is the transfer of pollen from the anther of a flower to the stigma of another flower plant, but of the same species. Example, apple, grapes, plum, etc. What it is saying, the pollen grains from one flower are taken and shifted to the stigma of the another plant, another flower. The advantages are, the seeds produced as a result of cross-pollination develop and germinate properly and grow into better plants. That is, cross-pollination leads to the production of new varieties. More viable seeds are produced. More seeds are produced. But disadvantages? Pollination may fail due to distance barrier. If the distance between the flowers is more, the cross-pollination cannot take place. More wastage of pollen grains. The insects, the wind, if they are taking the pollen grains, half of the pollen grains will be falling down in the earth. It may introduce some unwanted characters. Unwanted characters. It can go and combine with the stigma of any other unwanted plant. Flowers depend on the external agencies for pollination. External agencies means butterfly, honeybee, birds. The cross-pollination depends on them. When the honeybee comes and sits on the flower to take nectar, these pollen grains will stick to the body of the honeybee. And this honeybee, from one flower to the other as it is going, the pollen grains will be reaching to different flowers. So they compulsory depend on the external animals. The last topic of your reproduction in plants is fertilization in plants. What is the actual procedure happens when the pollen grain enter the stigma? Draw this diagram and read the paragraph in your textbook and listen carefully as I am explaining. Here pollen grain is there and stigma. Stigma is the sticky part. When the pollen grain reaches the right stigma and began to germinate, when the pollen grain comes and stick to the stigma, because stigma is very sticky, it starts germinating. Germinating means pollen grain form a small tube-like structure called pollen tube. This yellow color tube you can see, no? Once the pollen grain comes and sticks to the stigma, the pollen tube is formed. And this is through the germ pore. We have studied the structure of the ovule. So this tube, when it is forming, it enters into the germ pore of the ovule. Pollen tube grows. The pollen grain enters through the tube now. First it will stick, then it will produce the pollen tube. It will attach to the germ pore and the pollen grain will start entering inside. Pollen tube grows through the tissue of the stigma and style and finally reach the ovule through micropyle. Micropyle, the opening of the ovule. It will reach there. Vegetative cell, we have said, vegetative cell degenerates and the generative cell divides to form two sperms, male gametes. As I told you before, germinative cells have two male gametes. Tip of the pollen tube bursts. The tube which is formed where the pollen grain is traveling and entering into the micropyle. The two male gametes are there in the generative cell. Yes or no? In that, the pollen tube will burst because the pollen grain have to come out. When the pollen grain bursts, the two sperms enter the embryo sac. We have studied the 3. Egg cells are there. 3 in the top, 3 near the chalaza and 3 near the micropyle. One sperm fuses with the egg. 2 are there. One sperm fuses with the egg and form a zygote. The other sperm fuses with the secondary nucleus which is in the nucellus. We have studied the pink color. In that the 8th one is there. There it will fuse and form a primary endosperm. Primary endosperm. These two types of fusions are said to be double fertilization. Okay, two male gametes will get fused, so that is why it is said to be double fertilization. If it is after triple fusion, means the 3 cells on each side are fused, primary endosperm nucleus develops into endosperm, that is the eating part. Endosperm provides food to the developing embryo. It gives food to the embryo so that it can develop into a fruit or a vegetable. Later the synergids and antipode cells degenerate. Degenerate means they get dissolved. What are the significance of fertilization, that is advantages? It stimulates the ovary to develop into fruit. It helps the ovary to develop into fruit. It helps in the development of new characters from two different individuals. You can develop a new character through this fertilization. Post-fertilization changes. After the fertilization, what happens? The ovule develops into a seed. Underline. The ovule develops into a seed. The integuments of the ovule develops into the seed coat. The integuments of the ovule means the two layers we have seen, the opening of micropyle, the two layers are there green color. They develop into a seed coat. But the ovary inside enlarges and develops into a fruit. Here ovule is a seed, ovary is a fruit. The seed contains the future plant or embryo which develops into a seedling under appropriate conditions. The seed is containing the future plant. If you take the seed and put it in the soil, it will grow into a new plant. So this is the procedure which takes place in the reproduction of plants. About animals, I will discuss in class. After this lesson, students, I hope you all are clear. Again, see this video and follow your textbook. It will be very easy. And as I told you to draw the diagrams, do draw it in your classwork. Draw the typical structure of a flower. Define cross-pollination. Draw the labeled structure of the ovule. Write a short note on fertilization. Name the 3 parts of the gynoecium. Write down these questions in your classwork and try to answer them by seeing this video as well as following your textbook. Students, in the next session we will meet with the next topic.